Hello students, today we will study about angiosperms, which is an important topic of class 11 biology concerning the plant kingdom. So angiosperms is composed of two Greek words. What are those two Greek words? Cover, angio, and sperma. Angio means covered, sperma means seed. So covered seed, and these are known as flowering plants. Flowering, angio means covered, sperma means seed, and these are known as flowering plants or highly evolved flowering plants. Highly developed or evolved flowering plants. In gymnosperms, what had happened? Ovules were naked. Ovules were in gymnosperms. What had happened? The ovules were naked. But in angiosperms, what happens? In angiosperms, what happens? Sporophylls and seeds. These are important things of angiosperms. So sporophylls are arranged into flowers. Sporophylls are arranged into flowers, and seeds are produced inside fruits. So sporophylls are arranged into flowers and seeds are produced inside fruits. Okay. Habitat, where are they found? It can be found anywhere. That means it is found everywhere. Cold places, deserts, water, over other plants as parasites or saprophytes. And their size varies from the tiny Olphia to tall trees like Eucalyptus, which is more than 100 meter tall. Are then found as herbs, shrubs, trees, climbers, etc. So they are found everywhere, in cold places, in deserts, in water, over other plants such as parasites or saprophytes, and their size varies from the small one, tiny Olphia, to tall trees like Eucalyptus, which is more than 100 meter tall. It is found as herbs, shrubs, trees, and climbers. Economic importance. Can be used as cereals, pulses, edible oils, fibers, and it can be used. It contains timber or hardwood, and it is obtained from dicotyledonous trees. Example: teak, sal, oak, shiso, etc. And they are also used as medicine and beverages. So what is the importance? Economic importance. It is eaten as cereals, pulses, edible oils we get from that, and fibers. It contains timber or hardwood. Especially these things are found from dicotyledonous trees. Dicotyledonous trees provide timber or hardwood, and examples are teak, sal, oak, shiso, etc. And they are also used as medicine or beverages. Main plant body or the dominant phase. Main plant body or the dominant phase is the sporophytic phase. Sporophytic phase. It is the sporophytic phase. Here the primary roots, these develop from radical of the germinating seed. So primary roots develop from radical of the germinating seed, and it forms, what does it form? It forms taproot system. So primary root develops from the radical of the germinating seed and it forms taproot system. In many angiosperms, it so happens that the roots develop from other than radicals, and these roots are known as adventitious roots. So what are adventitious roots? Here it happens that the root develops from other places than the radical, so they are known as adventitious roots. Stems, they develop from plumule. Leaves may be simple or compound. And the leaves bear, what do they bear? They bear auxiliary buds. What do the leaves bear? They bear auxiliary buds. And these auxiliary buds may grow into stem branches. And the auxiliary buds may grow into stem branches. Angiosperms have vessels in xylem. And sieve tubes and companion cells where? In phloem. Gymnosperms don't have companion cells. So on the basis of number of cotyledons, present in, where are the cotyledons present? They are present in seeds. Angiosperms have been divided into two subgroups. What are those? Monocotyledons or monocots, or dicotyledons or dicots. Let us understand the basic differences and also the characteristics of both of them. So let us study the differences between both of them, monocots and dicots. In terms of cotyledons, monocot has just one cotyledon, dicots have two cotyledons. What kind of root system is present here? In monocots, monocots have fibrous root system, and it has dicots have taproot system. Leaves have here parallel venation, and here it has reticulate venation. In terms of vascular bundles, in monocots they are scattered, and here they are arranged in rings. Cambium is absent. Here cambium is arranged in rings. Examples of monocot are onion, grasses, cereals, and examples of dicots are eucalyptus, eucalyptus, apple mustard, rose, etc. So what are the main characteristics of both them, or what is the difference between monocots and dicots? So in terms of cotyledons, it has just one, it has two cotyledons. In terms of root system, it has fibrous root system and it has taproot system. In terms of leaves, it has parallel venation, it has reticulate venation. Monocots, in terms of vascular bundles, they are scattered in monocots, and they are arranged in rings in dicots. Cambium, it is absent. Cambium is absent in monocots, but in dicots it is arranged in rings. Examples of onion, grasses, cereals. Examples of dicots are eucalyptus, apple, mustard, rose, etc. Now let us study about reproduction in angiosperm. So we all know that flowers are the reproductive organs. Here the flowers are the reproductive organs, and the male sex organ, what is it? It is called microsporophyll or stamen. Microsporophyll or stamen. Each stamen consists of a slender filament and an anther. Where is the anther? It is at the tip. If we take into account this figure, okay, that's the symbol for this one. So this is the filament and this is the anther. This is the filament and this is the filament and this is the anther. Anther at the tip. So a cylinder filament and an anther at the tip. The stamen contains those. And an anther, it contains 4 microsporangia. How many microsporangia? It contains 4 microsporangia. In microsporangia, what happens? The MMC, microspore mother cell. We generally used MMC for megaspore mother cell. Just to make you understand, I have used this. So microspore, in microsporangia, what do we find? Microspore mother cell, which it gets differentiated. MMC, it gets differentiated, and what does it form? It forms 4 microspores. It forms 4 microspores, and each of them develop into a pollen grain. Each one develop into a pollen grain. Each pollen grain produces 2 male gametes. So male sex organ is microsporophyll or stamen. It consists of a cylinder, filament, and with the anther at the top, and the anther has 4 microsporangia. It has 4 microsporangia, in which MMC differentiates to form 4 microspores. Each microspore develops into a pollen grain. Each microspore develops into a pollen grain, and each pollen grain produces 2 male gametes. The female sex organ is known as megasporophyll or pistil or carpel. We know that. Each carpel or pistil has 3 parts. What are those 3 parts? Stigma, style, and ovary. Let's understand with this figure. Okay. if we consider this one. Okay, this is the stigma, this is the style, and this is the ovary. So this is the stigma, this is the stigma, this is the style, and this is the ovary. Okay, inside ovary we have ovules. So a carpel or pistil or megasporophyll consists of stigma, style, and ovary. The megaspore mother cell, it gets differentiated in the nucellus. It is a mass of cells in the nucellus, which is a mass of cells. So the MMC, megaspore mother cell, gets differentiated in the nucellus. In the nucellus, megaspore mother cell gets differentiated, and it undergoes meiosis. And what does it form? It forms 4 haploid megaspores. And it forms 4 haploid megaspores. 3 of the megaspores degenerate, only 1 remains functional, and that particular megaspore gets enlarged and finally forms the female gametophyte, which is the embryo sac. So the female sex organ is the megasporophyll or pistil or carpel. It consists of 3 parts: stigma, style, and ovary. The MMC in the nucellus, which is a mass of cells, the MMC in the nucellus differentiates and undergoes meiosis, and as a result of that 4 haploid megaspores are formed. 3 degenerate, only 1 remains functional, which gets enlarged and finally forms the female gametophyte, which is the embryo sac. So the ovary, it has ovule, and inside the ovule the female gametophyte embryo sac develops. Let's try to understand it with a figure, with the help of a figure. Yeah, let's make this figure. Okay. Synergid cells, egg cell, this is the 2 polar nuclei, filiform structure. So these are the antipodals. This is the chalazal end, and this is the micropylar end. Chalazal end and micropylar end. This is the polar nuclei, and they are in the central cell. They are in the central cell. These are synergids. This one is the egg apparatus, egg cell. Egg cell apparatus means whole thing, and these are filiform apparatus, which guides the pollen grains into the pollen tubes. And this is the micropylar end. This is the chalazal end, and these are antipodals. I have drawn a tentative figure here to make you understand the whole thing. Now I hope the picture is clear to you. So each embryo sac, this is a mature embryo sac. This is a figure of a mature embryo sac, micro embryo sac. So each embryo sac contains three-celled egg apparatus. Three-celled egg apparatus. What do they contain? They contain three-celled egg apparatus. It consists of, what do you consider? One egg cell, this one egg cell, and two synergids, two synergids. Then we have three antipodal cells, 1, 2, 3, at the chalazal end. Then we have in the middle two polar nuclei in the central cell. We have a cell here. In the cell there are two nuclei. It has been not shown, but it is a cell here. Two polar nuclei in central cell. So total 7 cells. 1 cell, 2 cell, 3 cell, 4 cell, and 7 cells. But we have 8 nuclei. Here we have only 1 cell. But there are 2 nuclei. So 2, 3, 5, 3, 8, 7 cells, 8 nuclei. The polar cells, that ones, they fuse. The polar cells, both of them, they fuse. That means N plus N happens, and a diploid secondary nucleus is formed. A diploid secondary nucleus is formed twice in. Keep this in mind. Pollen grain they may be carried by wind, they may be carried by water, insects. They reach stigma. So pollen grains, here we have the figure. What was that figure? Okay, let's make a figure here. Stigma, style, ovary, ovule. Okay, so this is a stigma, style, ovary. So the pollen grains which are carried by wind, water, insects, etc., they reach stigma and produce pollen tube. A pollen tube is produced. They produce a pollen tube, and this pollen tube enters the embryo sac. They produce a pollen tube, and this pollen tube enters the embryo sac. And what happens in the embryo sac? Two male gametes are discharged. In the embryo sac, two male gametes are discharged. So two male gametes are discharged here. Now let us study about double fertilization in this regard. So the pollen grains carried by wind, water, etc., they reach a stigma, they develop a pollen tube, and what happens? Enters the embryo sac, and two male gametes are discharged here. Now let us know about double fertilization, triple fusion and triploid pin. Double fertilization, triple fusion and triploid pin. So two male gametes were discharged. Two male gametes were discharged from the pollen tube. Okay. One fuses with the egg. This one. One fuses with the egg and produces diploid zygote. That is first fertilization. And zygote further develops into embryo or sporophyte. So two male gametes were discharged. One fuses with the egg and forms diploid zygote, which is now it is the first fertilization. Due to fusion, fertilization occurs and a diploid zygote is formed. The zygote further develops into embryo or sporophyte. That's another thing. Another male gamete, that pollen grain, okay, that fuses with the secondary nucleus, that fuses with the primary secondary nucleus. So you can say secondary nucleus, not primary secondary, it is secondary nucleus, which are formed by the fusion of two nuclei. So we have two nuclei here, one male gamete, so n plus 2 twice n. What happens? It's known as triple fusion. And first fertilization occurred, and here the male fuses with the secondary nucleus, second fertilization occurs. So double fertilization had occurred. What is the fusion? Fusion of three nuclei, the triple fusion. And as a result of triple fusion, what is formed? Triploid primary endosperm nucleus. Primary endosperm nucleus. So what has happened till now? Pollen grain carried by the water, current, insects, wind, etc. First they reach stigma, they develop a pollen tube, and they enter the embryo sac. And the embryo sac, what happens? Two male gametes are discharged. One male gamete fuses with this egg cell. Fertilization, first fertilization occurs and diploid zygote is formed, which further develops into embryo or a sporophyte. Another male gamete fuses with the secondary nucleus. So what had happened here earlier, that the polar nuclei, they had fused among themselves. So twice n was formed, secondary nucleus was formed, and the male gamete fuses with the secondary nucleus to n plus twice n, that is thrice n, that is triple fusion. And first fertilization had occurred here, the second fertilization occurred here, so double fertilization occurred, and as a result of triple fusion, triploid pin, that means primary endosperm nucleus has been formed. Pin, primary endosperm nucleus, further develops into endosperm. further develops into endosperm. And endosperm, it nourishes the developing embryo. It nourishes the developing embryo. Ovules develop into seeds and ovaries into fruits. So this triple pin develops into triploid primary endosperm nucleus, which was formed due to triple fusion. So the pin develops into endosperm, and the endosperm nourishes the developing embryo. Ovules develop into seeds and ovaries into fruits. So life cycle of an angiosperm. Let's discuss that. Different plant groups have different patterns of life cycle. Angiosperms, they complete their life cycle in 2 stages. A diploid, a sporophytic diploid sporophytic phase, and a haploid gametophytic phase. So an angiosperm completes its life cycle in 2 stages, a diploid sporophytic phase and a haploid gametophytic phase. The haploid plant body it represents the gametophyte. Haploid plant body represents the gametophyte, and this gametophyte or the haploid plant body, it produces gametes. How does it produce gametes? By mitosis. So the gametophyte produces gametes by mitosis. After fertilization, what happens? Zygote also undergoes mitotic division. Undergoes mitosis and forms a diploid, this one, sporophyte plant body. And this diploid sporophyte plant body produces spores. Now spores are produced through meiosis. Diploid sporophyte plant body produces spores by meiosis, and the spores in turn divide by mitosis. To form a haploid plant body again. So let us discuss the life cycle of an angiosperm. Different plant groups have different patterns of life cycle in their life. An angiosperm completes its life cycle in 2 stages, a diploid sporophytic phase and a haploid gametophytic phase. So here the haploid plant body represents the gametophyte. Haploid plant body represents the gametophytic phase or the gametophyte. The gametophyte undergoes mitosis and forms gametes. Gametophyte undergoes mitosis and forms gametes. After fertilization of gametes, what happens? Zygote is formed. The zygote again divides by mitosis, and a diploid sporophyte plant body is formed. The diploid sporophyte plant body undergoes meiosis and forms spores. Spores are formed by meiosis. The spores in turn divides by mitosis, and a haploid plant body is formed again. So what happens here? There are two phases, there are two stages or phases in the life cycle of an organism: diploid sporophyte phase and the haploid gametophytic phase. The haploid plant body is the gametophyte here. It produces gametes by mitosis. Gametes after fertilization form zygote, and zygote also undergoes mitosis to form diploid sporophyte plant body. Diploid sporophyte plant body. This diploid sporophyte plant body produces spores by meiosis. Everything there is mitosis, but here it is diploid sporophyte plant body produces spores. How does it produce spores? By meiosis. And the meiosis again divides by mitosis, and haploid plant body is formed again. So during the today we will now we will study about alternation of generation. During the life cycle of any sexually reproducing plant, there is an alternate of generation. There is alternate of generation between gamete producing haploid gametophyte and a spore producing diploid sporophyte. A spore producing diploid sporophyte and gamete producing haploid gametophyte. So there is an alternation of generation between gamete producing haploid gametophyte and spore producing diploid sporophyte. However, different plants groups differ in their patterns. And what are the patterns? Haplontic, diplontic, and di or haplodiplontic, dihaplontic or haplodiplotic. Let's understand them. Let's discuss them. Haplontic. Here the sporophytic generation. Here the sporophytic generation is represented by one-celled zygote. One-celled zygote. Here zygote has just one cell. So the sporophyte. So what happens? The sporophytic generation. The sporophytic generation is represented by one-celled zygote. Zygote undergoes meiosis. Zygote undergoes meiosis, and as a result of diachly, haploid spores are formed. Haploid spores are formed, and these haploid spores form the gametophytes. And the gametophyte is the dominant phase here. Dominant phase here. Here the sporophytes, there are no free living sporophytes are found here. No free living sporophytes are formed here. And the examples are Spirogera, Chlamydomonas, Volvox. They represent this haplontic phase. So what happens in haplontic phase? The sporophytic generation is represented by one-celled zygote. This sporophytic generation is represented by one-celled zygote, which goes meiosis and forms haploid cells, spores, haploid spores, and these haploid spores form gametophyte. Gametophytes, which is the dominant phase, and here the sporophytes are not free living. The sporophytes are not here free living. They are dependent on gametophyte. Spirogera, Chlamydomonas, Volvox are the examples. So sporophytic generation is represented by one-celled zygote. Zygote goes meiosis, and as a result of haploid spores are formed. Haploid spores form gametophyte, which is the dominant phase. And the sporophytic phase is not free living here. It depends on gametophyte, and the examples are Spirogera, Chlamydomonas, and Volvox. They represent this particular phase. So the second one is diplontic. Here the dominant phase is diploid a sporophyte. It is the dominant phase. Main plant body, dominant phase is the diploid sporophyte, which is multicellular, independent and photosynthetic, and also multicellular, independent and photosynthetic plants. And diploid sporophytic phase, diploid sporophytic phase is represented by single to few-celled haploid gametophyte. Single to few-celled haploid gametophyte, and this type of life cycle is known as diplontic, and it is for all seed-bearing plants. Seed-bearing plants means gymnosperm and angiosperm and fungus, and alga is also fucus. It must not be fungus, it must be fucus. So it is fucus, definitely. So fucus, which is an alga, fucus which is an alga, also is also diplontic. So what happens in diplontic life cycle? The dominant phase is the diploid sporophyte. The dominant phase is diploid sporophyte, which is multicellular, independent, photosynthetic. That means they are independent and capable of making their own food. So they are photosynthetic. And diploid sporophytic structure, diploid sporophytic phase, it is represented by single to few-celled haploid gametophyte, single to few-celled haploid gametophytic phase. And this type of life cycle is diplontic and is found in seed-bearing plants such as gymnosperm and an alga, fucus and alga is also represents that. The second one is haplodiplontic. What happens in So in haplodiplontic we have two distinct phases. What are those phases? And both the phases are multicellular. Both these phases are two distinct phases. Both the phases are multicellular. Diploid a sporophyte, we know that sporophytes are diploids, and haploid gametophyte, and diploid sporophyte. Both phases are multicellular and immediate action. These are multicellular and immediate action is present. This term is very important here. Immediate action is present. What happens here? There are two stages here: dominant haploid gametophytic age, gametophyte age. Dominant haploid gametophyte phase. Here dominant haploid gametophyte phase, it alternates with short-lived sporophytic phase. Sporophytes depend on gametophytes for nutrition and anchorage. So dominant haploid gametophytic phase, what happens here? This dominant haploid gametophytic phase alternates with short-lived sporophytic phase. It alternates with is longer phase, dominant applied gametophytic phase. It alternates with short-lived sporophytic phase, and a sporophytic phase depends sporophytes depend upon gametophytes for nutrition and encourage. So, and the second phase is dominant applied. There will be diploid gametophytic phase. That means the second one will be sporophytic phase. See, this is dominant diploid sporophytic phase. What happens? It alternates with short-lived haploid gametophytes. You can say gametophytes. So what happens? The reverse happens. The dominant diploid sporophytic phase alternates with short-lived haploid gametophytic phase. So all pteridophytes follow this pattern. Most algal generation are haplontic, but many of them are haplodiploidic, such as Ectocarpus, Polysiphonia, Kelps. But Fucus, which is in alga, we have studied that it's diploidic. So haplodiploidic, it has two distinct phases. Both the phases are multicellular. And what are the phases? Diploid sporophytes and haploid gametophytes. These all are multicellulars, and immediate action is present. That's very important term here. So the first one is dominant haploid gametophyte. The dominant haploid gametophyte alternates with short-lived sporophytes or the sporophytic phase. Sporophytes are dependent on gametophytes here for nutrition and encourage. And the reverse happens here. Dominant diploid sporophyte phase. Dominant, here the second one is dominant. The dominant diploid sporophyte phase alternates with short-lived haploid gametophytes. So all the pteridophytes form this dihaploplantic or haplodiploidic phase, haplodiploidic life cycle. Most algal generation therefore are haplontic. Most algal generation or most algae are mainly haplontic, but some of them are haplodiploidic too, such as Ectocarpus, Polysiphonia, Kelps, Ectocarpus, Polysiphonia and Kelps. Fucus and alga, it follows the diploidic life cycle. With this, we come to an end of plant kingdom. I hope you have understood the whole thing. So do subscribe my channel if you haven't done so, and like and share my videos.